Maynard DeFeo, bar manager of Hotel Congress at Maynard's Market. Today I'm going to show you a couple of my original creations and a couple of my favorite classic cocktails. And I'm going to go through them step by step, showing you how to use all fresh ingredients and the proper techniques to make them ever so delicious. When people think of cocktails, they think about just about any drink that we make back here. But in fact, an original cocktail is made of nothing more than a spirit, some bitters, water, and some sugar. Now things have evolved quite a bit, and we're doing a little bit more sophisticated things with our cocktails. The first cocktail I'm going to do today is called the Gin Blossom. That's a specialty cocktail we do here at Hotel Congress. And this, just to start off, the first thing you're going to want to start off when you make a cocktail is a good mixing glass. It's a 16-ounce glass that you're going to pour your ingredients into. You're measuring, of course, with the jigger, which I have right here. And what we're going to start off today with are two ingredients that go perfectly together. Hendrick's Gin, which has rose petal and cucumber notes in the distillation process, and Saint Germain elderflower liqueur from France. Has made out of elderflowers. It's picked only once a year. Absolutely delicious, sweet floral notes to this. They're going to combine perfectly. But to balance this cocktail out, we're going to need something that makes it a little bit, takes the sweetness down and adds a bitter element. For that, we're going to use two different things. We're going to use our grapefruit bitters, and we're going to use fresh grapefruit juice. We're going to add all these together, and for the final touch, we're going to use Campari. And this isn't a dasher because I'm only going to apply a very small amount. So what we're going to start with first is 1 ounce of our Hendrick's Gin. We'll jigger that in there. Next, 1 ounce of the Saint Germain. And we're going to follow with 2 ounces of the fresh grapefruit juice. Now we come to our bitters. The thing about bitters isn't really bitter. It's just a flavoring. A lot of them have a lot of complexities. For instance, Angostura bitters, which is the traditional classic bitters that you see in most cocktails, has a very spicy note to it. Whereas the grapefruit we're going to use today has almost like a grapefruit oil essence. And that's just going to kind of help bring out the other flavors. It's not going to take over or overpower anything. I'm just going to do a dash in there. The next ingredient is ice. I'm going to want to fill this mixing glass up with some ice. And then we're going to want to take one of our mixing tins here, and we're going to go ahead and make a seal. Make sure that's nice and tidy. We're going to shake over our shoulder like this so that we don't get any debris from that shaker to the guest size while we're doing it. I'm going to shake that nice and easy. Right until this starts frosting up. Draw a little smiley face in it. Then we're going to go ahead and fill a tall glass with ice. Going to hit the side of the strainer to release. Get all that excess out of there. We're going to use our Boston strainer. Strain this into the cup. Right at the top, we're just going to hit it with a little bit of soda water. Just give it a little bit of effervescence. Now, the last ingredient, as I said, was the Campari. Now, Campari is very bitter, so it's very important to not overuse this. This is going to balance out the rest of the cocktail. This is the really sweet ingredient, and this is going to be the thing that sets it off. And we're just going to do a couple dashes of the Campari down the middle there. And we're going to garnish that with a fresh kiwi. And there you have the Gin Blossom. The next cocktail we're going to do today is a classic cocktail, or should I say a forgotten cocktail. It appeared sometime around 1930 at the Detroit Athletic Club and then disappeared into obscurity for the next 80 years until it resurfaced in Seattle a few years ago. A couple budding mixologists unearthed this recipe and started serving it at their clubs. It's called The Last Word. It's a very interesting marriage of flavors. On one hand, you have gin, which has obviously a juniper note to it. And then you have maraschino, Luxardo maraschino, which is a liqueur that a lot of people mistake for a sweet liqueur. It actually has a very earthy quality to it. It's clear, and it really has almost a bitterness to it, as well as an earthy note and a certain sweet element. So in of itself, it's kind of a balanced liqueur. And then we have chartreuse, which is a very, very herbal liqueur at very high proof. And finally, the last ingredient is fresh lime juice. The way these work in harmony produces a cocktail that's frankly unequaled in terms of its balance and its complexity. But we're going to add one more step of complexity into this cocktail today, and we're going to use something that I made, which is jasmine green tea infused gin. This is something that you can do at home very easily if you have any kind of mason jar or any sealable jar. You just simply put your favorite gin inside of the jar and you add some tea bags. 2 hours later, pull the tea bags out, make sure that that gin is strained. You can run it through a coffee filter or a cheesecloth. You don't want to let the infusion sit for longer than 2 hours because tea can sometimes impart a bitter quality that you definitely don't want in this drink. We've already got the chartreuse, we've already got the maraschino. So to make this drink, we're going to get our mixing glass here, and we're going to use an equal proportion of all 4 of these ingredients. Start with 3/4 ounce lime juice. Once again, I'm going to fresh squeeze this using a hand squeezer. Sometimes limes can be a little rough. You may have to get a little bit more out of this one. And just a dash more, just for safety's sake. Then we're going to go ahead and add 3/4 ounce of our jasmine infused gin. Jasmine green tea infused gin, I should say. Again, an equal proportion of our green chartreuse, which is the herbal component to this drink. And part of the way that it gets its green color. And 3/4 ounce of our maraschino, which you can see is clear. This was originally what maraschino cherries were soaked in, but commercially people didn't like the taste of the maraschino because it had a much earthier taste than sugar. Then we're just going to go ahead and fill this bad boy up with ice. Again, we're going to shake this because this drink, this drink does have lime juice in it, and anytime you have a fruit juice, you always want to shake it. So we'll go ahead and get a shaker here. Make sure we're nice and sealed. I'm going to shake again over the shoulder to make sure we're not getting any in the guest eye. Got our chilled cocktail glass here. I'm using a stem martini glass for this. I think the presentation is nicer. To make sure. Hawthorne strainer. And finally, we're going to go ahead and finish this off with a little decorative lime peel, which you can make using a channel knife. Just cutting the skin of the lime. We're just going to go ahead and sip that right in the drink, like so.